Hey everybody, today is January 25th, 2025. It is a beautiful Saturday night here in New York City, and today we're going to be doing a complete walking tour of Trump Tower after the inauguration of the now 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump. So we're going to be doing a walking tour around the perimeter of the building, but we're also going to be going inside the building as well. For those of you who don't know, Trump Tower sits right on the corner of 57th Street and 5th Avenue. It's in between 56th and 57th, which is really considered New York City's Billionaire's Row. This is one of the most prime and coveted locations anywhere in the city. Now we're looking down towards the west side of Manhattan. You'll have the Steinway Tower, 157, Central Park Tower, and 220 Central Park South that make up New York City's Billionaire's Row. But you also have the Aman, New York, which is inside the Crown Building. It's this building right across the street. This is one of the most luxurious hotels, not only in the entire city, but the entire world. And it sits adjacent Trump Tower. So we'll go ahead and cross the street. You're also seeing the very famous Tiffany building, that is the flagship store here on 5th Avenue. Obviously, Tiffany is owned by LVMH, that is Bernard Arnault's company, and they spent about $500 million on the new renovation to build a completely new and improved Tiffany flagship store. We'll stand a little bit further back across the street, and I'll tell you a little bit about Trump Tower. Now you'll notice you have the Gucci store as one of their main anchor tenants for the retail. What a lot of people don't know is there's really three components of Trump Tower. You have the condominium component, you have the office component, and then you have the retail. Now the building is about 663 feet tall in total, spanning 58 stories. And there's 231 condo units in the building. But there's also a public atrium. This is kind of one of the main things that developers has done, hint, hint, to get a little bit of a tax break. There's an atrium that goes all the way from 5th Avenue to Madison Avenue that is open to the public from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 p.m. 7 days a week, which is really good because it allows New Yorkers to enjoy New York not only from the outside, but also the inside. You're looking at what's going to be the new Louis Vuitton flagship store. It's this really pretty kind of building just off to the left, and the scaffolding is decorated in a Louis bag, which is pretty interesting. Pretty cool. So we'll wait for the light, and then we'll cross over, and we will walk inside Trump Tower, checking out the retail space, and then I'll show you where the offices are located. Trump Tower has 13 office stories. It starts on the 14th floor and goes all the way up to the 26th floor. And the condos start on the 30th floor and they go up to the 68th floor of the tower. And then obviously you have President Trump's personal penthouse all the way at the top overlooking Central Park, as well as the GM building, which a lot of people don't know this. There was a little bit of a fight. Donald Trump was not happy that his tower was going to be roughly 10 feet shorter than the General Motors building, which overlooks Central Park. Maybe it's a little bit of an ego thing, as you could imagine, but Trump Tower is shorter than the GM building. Okay, this is the front, or I should say the main entrance of the tower here. If you notice where everybody is going in, this is kind of the main entrance to the atrium. Again, it is open to the public from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and there's a connection all the way to Madison Avenue. So since this is public space, you're allowed to film in here, you're allowed to walk around, and this was part of the development deal to have a public space in the building. Okay, now we're inside Trump Tower. I'll quickly put on the wide-angle camera lens. You can definitely feel the 1980s vibe in here. This side you're looking at the Gucci store. Here's the main entrance to the building. You have this really nice grand entrance with the American flag right here. We'll go back to the standard angle lens. And we'll give you a little bit of a tour inside the building. Again, Gucci. To the left, you have some of the main elevators to the office that we talked about. Also, you can go up to the business center. If anybody's watched the show Celebrity Apprentice, that's where they had the main boardrooms, where they filmed the show Celebrity Apprentice. Upstairs, if you were to go up these escalators, you'll have coffee shops, a little bit of a cafe. But we'll quickly check out to the right-hand side. You have the Trump Whiskey Bar. You can see the 45 presidential seal here. Soon to be, probably, they're going to replace this with 47. So on the top floor, again, you have a little bit of a whiskey bar. I'll go to the wide-angle camera lens. This is a waterfall where you see the American flag here. In the summer, they turn on this really, really tranquil waterfall. But right now, there's an American flag, and you can see this is just after the inauguration. So you have a lot of the USA balloons, a lot of the balloons that say 47 overlooking the lower part of the atrium, as well as Trump Grill. And then you have every single kind of branch of the military here. You have Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, also Space Force. Now this back section used to be an entrance to the old Nike store. It used to be the flagship Nike store, which is now going to be the Louis Vuitton. If you were to walk all the way to the back through those doors, that's going to lead you to the atrium that'll take you to Madison Avenue. Here you can see a little bit of a better view of the whiskey bar, as well as Trump Grill. There's also something called Trump Sweets. It's like an ice cream store down there. And here is the menu for the Trump Grill. It's kind of like a business lunch. $47 a person. You can get a starter, super salad, a main, a burger, black bean burger, Cajun chicken, New York strip steak, and then a scoop of ice cream. I've been here a few times, and oftentimes if you come here during lunch hours on a business day, you can see Eric Trump, because this is actually where he works out of. I've ran into him many times. We'll now take you down the main escalators. This is kind of the famous, where Trump first announced he was going to be running for president, first time. And then back here you have the gift shop. You can see the Trump store. And then this is a wall of pretty much all his properties. The world of Trump, you have Washington, D.C., L.A., 40 Wall Street, which is down in Lower Manhattan. And then probably the most famous one, which is 1 Central Park West, which is the Trump International Hotel and Tower, which is near the AM Stern building, which is 15 Central Park West, where you have some very famous occupants such as Daniel Loeb, as well as the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankfein. Here you have the Trump Cafe. This was recently redone. So during lunch hours, they have like pizza. You can see the Trump oven pizza here. This is all really well redone. Here you have a cafe, which is like a coffee bar if you want to grab a coffee or a latte or something like that. You also will have public restrooms. So if we walk all the way to the back, just a little bit further past the Trump Grill, you'll have a gift shop and public restrooms. You can kind of see the dining room. It's closed now because it's roughly 6 o'clock in the afternoon. But if you go all the way to the back, this is where you'll have that gift shop. I would recommend it. It's a good place to come for business lunch if you're working here on Madison Avenue, 57th Street. But still, my favorite place to come is Del Frisco's for a business lunch. Here's the main gift shop. Curious what this says. All right, we'll make a loop around and go back up. Pretty spacious down here. Even though the interior looks a little bit dated, they do keep it very clean. So I will give them a lot of credit. It was built in the 80s, so it's almost like taking time travel back to the 1980s. You can see everything is pretty much encased in gold and the like. So this is headed back towards the main entrance on 5th Avenue. We'll take a quick peek. Actually, it looks like they just closed down the upstairs. I'll turn around this way so you can see. They're getting ready to close the cafes upstairs, but if you want to get up there, just go up the escalator. It used to be a Starbucks, and I think when Trump won the first presidency, there was some, well, animosity between the two companies, and Starbucks no longer would lease. You can see the Italian food zone up at the top. Now, as for the condos here at Trump Tower, some of them are pretty nice, but the common charges are very, very high. If you go on Street Easy right now, you'll see some one-bedroom apartments with beautiful views of Central Park going for roughly 1.6 to 1.7 million. If you don't have a direct view of Central Park, you could probably get one for a little bit less. But the common charges are very high. It's probably going to be north of $2,500 a month for your common charges for a one-bedroom apartment, and then probably another $2,500 to $3,000 a month for the property taxes. So the building is a little bit dated and the common charges are quite high, but you can get a nice one-bedroom apartment with sweeping views of Central Park, right in that range of $1.4 to $1.6 million. And for the view, you can decide for yourself if that's worth it or not. Here's the brand new Tiffany flagship store. And now we're right back out on 57th Street, overlooking every single building on New York City's Billionaires Row. You can see the Steinway Tower, which is 111 West 57th Street. That's the skinniest residential apartment building in the world. Then you have Extel's 157 and Central Park Tower. Prime real estate, prime location, and hopefully you all enjoyed that walking tour of Trump Tower. If you want to see more walking tours in New York City, please subscribe to the channel. And if you're thinking about moving to New York and you need some help buying an apartment here, feel free to reach out to me at the email address below, and I'd be more than happy to help you and your family find the perfect place right here in New York City. Thanks so much for watching.